Hey guys, welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Binder and Ash Paulson to give our predictions and expectations for everything else besides Nintendo at E3 2016. So let's get started. Alright guys, so we already gave a whole discussion dedicated to Nintendo, which is ironic that they have almost nothing this year, but we somehow talked about them for an hour almost. But now it's time to talk about everything else, including Microsoft, including Sony, and third parties in general. So, what are you guys' thoughts? I guess first off, how are you feeling about this year in general? We already covered that for Nintendo, but how are you feeling for everything else outside Nintendo in general at E3?
I'm kind of two minds at the moment because one, this is the most time I've had dedicate towards other things than Nintendo. Usually, like after the first 2 days, I'm like kind of running around the other side of the convention hall, checking out what I can maybe take a look at and see. Like last year, I think it was Cuphead. I was making sure I had a chance to play at the Microsoft booth and a couple things, of course, at Square Enix. And to have more time to do that and to have actual like appointments for other games is kind of a different feeling for me for E3. That said, there's been a lot of trailers already for games that are going to be at E3.
The pre-3.
Yeah, the pre-3 trailers. Like we already got the trailer for Injustice 2. We've already got, I believe, a Destiny trailer has come out for the new DLC there. There's a trailer for the Yooka-Laylee trailer's already out.
Yeah.
There's
Watch Dogs 2.
Watch Dogs 2, Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Yeah, there's a bunch of trailers that have already come out that are going to be showing off what they have at E3, and it's, I don't know. I mean, either like I think I said this on Twitter, but it's either going to be like these are the minor announcements, or there's nothing else to announce.
I'm kind of worried that the latter is the case. I mean, I was pretty excited about this year's E3, and I still kind of am, but so much I feel of that load has been blown before E3 has even begun that I'm like, okay, I'm excited to go play some of these games for sure, but I feel like a lot of the big announcements have already come out early so that they don't get lost in the E3 hype, which ironically might be, lessened now that those announcements aren't part of it. So, yeah, like I feel like my excitement right now is a bit muted because I feel like I've already been unexpectedly assaulted with all these announcements, and the show hasn't even begun, So I'm a little in a weird middle place where I'm like excited, but I don't know how much more we can reasonably expect since so many of the big AAA announcements have already happened.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird thing where it does seem like some developers do try to avoid that, like the E3 rush, so they can get the headlines, claim them all for themselves. But yeah, when you have everyone doing it, then it does kind of like, well, what's left for E3? But I do think there are some big stories left here to tell, and of course, most the biggest ones are going to be coming from the Sony and Microsoft press conferences. Keep in mind, revealing trailers before E3 isn't entirely new. Maybe it is a little bit worse than past years.
Yeah.
And Sony still had one of the most exciting conferences they've had in years last year, right? With those, I think it was last year, right?
They did, that's true. Yeah.
So the Uncharted 4, we got that Horizon Zero Dawn, which unfortunately has been delayed until 2017, but we'll probably get a new trailer for it.
We already did.
Right.
Oh, well, we already did. I haven't.
And it looks awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. That looks really good.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for that. Speaking of Sony, I do think, but actually Sony and Microsoft, I absolutely believe that we're going to get formal introductions of these, iterative PS4 and Xbox One upgrades. I absolutely believe that the PS4 Neo and Xbox Scorpio are both real and happening this year at E3.
That's a guarantee. I mean, they're already basically out there in the open. I think the Xbox One might be a little bit more mystic at this point because I don't think we got full documents on that like we did with the PS4K.
Right.
And also it's been more recent too. So whereas I feel like the PS4K is almost like old news at this point. So I do think they need to finally announce those, give us a rundown of what that means for these platforms. And also, how weird is it that we're getting 2 more platforms and neither of them are from Nintendo? Which, it has the oldest of all these systems out there.
Yeah, I hesitate to call them like full platforms because they're so iterative, but yeah.
Well, they're not,
The funny thing is that, I don't think people are as excited for the PlayStation 4 Neo or the Scorpio, just because they are so iterative. I mean, I'm actually kind of worried is like, how much time are they going to dedicate to these consoles? Because I don't care. I'm not getting them.
So, that's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm wondering to what degree, or like what the relative iterativeness, if that's a word, I'm making a word, in all these platforms. I'm almost getting the sense that the PS Neo or 4K or whatever might be less of an iteration than the Xbox, because the Xbox, is being hammered in the marketplace right now, at least compared to Sony. It's kicking ass compared to the Wii U, and it is, and it is weaker. People know that it's weaker. And I think some of these rumors are that, comparatively, the thing is going to be the new one. To specify, I believe there are, the rumor is that there's 2 Xboxes coming out. One's a slim, the other would be the more powerful one. And I think the rumor is that it may even be more powerful than the PS4K, which means, comparatively, that's a huge jump from the Xbox. So I am wondering to what degree these may be iterative. I think the 4K may be less of an iteration than the Xbox is. So maybe... I do wonder how much of an advancement that these platforms are going to be, and I'm looking forward to find out, and also to what degree these platforms may screw over previous owners of the systems. Again, I'm sticking with my original optimism. I don't think they will screw over original owners yet. But yet. So it is going to be very interesting to see what happens, though, and how they announce it, and how they announce their plans for it, and even when these come out. I mean, do you think both of these are coming out this year?
I think the PS4 Neo definitely will coincide with the PSVR.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that could.
But that seems like a lot to market at the same time. Like, do you think people are going to blow $800 at the same time for VR and a new PS?
Maybe.
I mean, I think enthusiasts will. I'm not saying that I think VR will be exclusive to the PS4 Neo. I think you can buy one or the other. But yeah, I think I could see enthusiasts doing that, but I don't know. I guess it depends on how much of the PSVR experience is dependent on the PS4 Neo. Because if they want to market it as kind of a package deal where one really is enhanced by the other, then I could see it releasing this year. If not, then next year seems likelier.
So hearing about the PlayStation VR, the PlayStation 4 Neo, I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be. Is this conference gonna be just half like this extra stuff and not the games? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather hear about the games.
Okay, to be fair, PSVR is kind of about the games at this point, I feel like, or hopefully should be. So
kind of, but I don't know.
Well, that's actually part why I'm excited. We know what the PSVR hardware is. They don't need to go over that again. And they probably will to some degree. But I think now is, with it coming out, now's the time to fully talk about like their game lineup and what's coming down the pike. And I would love to see what else Sony's doing with PSVR. Like, I already talked about before how, I played a ton of demos at GDC for VR across all 3 of the major VR platforms. And I played even more now since my friend has a Vive. And I still think the PSVR London Heist demo is one of the most effective and convincing demos I had. So I think Sony does kind of get what VR is and has one of the best chances of succeeding in this market. And I do want to see what else they're doing with that platform.
I do think that PSVR is going to be the only gaming platform that has any chance of bringing gaming into the mainstream for VR. I don't think the Vive or the Rift are ever going to become mainstream VR gaming platforms. They're going to do their own thing, and they're going to be focused outside the gaming sphere, and that's fine. But PSVR is literally the only shot, I believe, that VR has at ever becoming mainstream in gaming. Mm-hmm. I really think all the hopes right on the PSVR for that.
And if it's not a success right out of the gate, Sony's not going to support it. So VR is
knowing Sony, yeah. Now I don't know about you guys, but I hope that Sony dedicates at least 45 minutes of their conference to Power Season 3. That's what I really want.
The only thing going on right now, like I don't know. Maybe we'll get a new show.
I think I've seen advertisements for Season 2, so that's why I think I know that Season 3 would be it if they announced anything. But I remember how awful that was. It was like 30 minutes of just them talking about this TV show no one cared about.
Yeah, which I heard was actually decent, just kind of low budget.
Yeah,
but it's like I don't think they've done anything else with that service beyond Powers. So yeah, like okay, what kind of games would you guys like to see, VR or otherwise? What would you like to see them show off during Sony's conference?
Well, I think we're overdue for a God of War, aren't we?
I think that's going to be announced, God of War 4, absolutely.
Yeah. Now the rumor is they'd actually leave Kratos behind and go to I think the rumor is Viking setting and going after Norse gods.
Really, the rumors I've read all said bearded, like an older bearded Kratos is going to be the main character.
Huh.
I don't think they're going to leave.
I'm all aboard the Viking Kratos train.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I honestly, it's Kratos' story was over in God of War 3. He became such a hugely unlikable character. I'm ready for him to be done.
I can't stand that character. I never have been able to. And
I totally bought his rage in the first game and then the second game, and then he started doing things in God of War 3 that I started feeling uncomfortable. Like I felt bad for these gods. And I'm like, I'm rooting for the bad guys because I'm such a bastard, you know? And so that's why I think a fresh start with a new character would help, because Ascension honestly did not do that well. It did okay. So I think it's a better idea for them to move on from that, get a new setting, have a new character that's sort of inspired by Kratos, but with his own different thing, and then doing, the whole Viking thing, which I would love to see. I'd be on board with that immediately because the gameplay is still fun. No matter what. But I think new gods to take out would be cool, and especially with the success of Marvel and all the Thor and all those gods, Thor and everything. Yeah, let's take down Loki. Let's take down Thor. Let's use Thor's hammer as a weapon.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they are out of Greek gods, right? So it's time to move on.
There's very few. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of mythical anythings, I do believe that we are finally going to get a release date for The Last Guardian, which does seem like mythical in itself because it's been in development for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I do think that we're going to get a release date for The Last Guardian, and I think it's going to be this holiday for sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the flagship PS4 releases this holiday.
PS4
I'll be honest,
exclusive.
Oh God.
Oh God. After all the, can you imagine?
Oh man.
Oh.
I kind of, to be honest, kind of forgot about Last Guardian because we haven't seen anything since last E3. I think there's a little bit of stuff that came out on IGN, but I didn't look into it. Because for the most part, other than E3, with Sony type games that I'm personally excited for, that I don't need to cover for Game Explain, I kind of leave myself in the dark, so I have surprises. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, but the other thing is I kind of forget about that kind of stuff beforehand. But yeah, I'd be excited to see more Last Guardian get a release date. I think that'd be really cool to see. Now, did you guys hear this rumor? This isn't technically related to Sony, but I saw a rumor today that there's been a lot of talk about a revival of Crash Bandicoot, and apparently the way that might be done through Activision is by having Crash Bandicoot be added to Skylanders.
Oh, the salt will be so good!
That is absolutely going to happen. I guarantee it. That is such a scumbag Activision move. That's totally going to be what happens. And
you know what? You know why too? It's totally riding on Uncharted 4 hype now. Spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spoilers.
Well, it's been a month. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. No, it makes sense. So many people are so excited for Crash Bandicoot to be revived in some way, to do something with him, and to have him okay, we're gonna do the same thing we did with Spyro and put him in this Skylanders game, and what? it'd be awful. But the thing I'm not so sure about that is Activision said, I think they said they had no presence at E3 this year. So
That's true as
the only thing it could do is through the Sony conference or the Microsoft conference,
or they could just release their own trailer.
Yeah, or could just do that. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's I'd feel so bad for the diehard Crash Bandicoot fans who've been wanting I'm a huge Crash Bandicoot fan, but I'm not one of those ones that we're dying for. I'm kind of used to not playing his games since I never played any of the PlayStation 2 ones or anything like that. Once Naughty Dog ended development on that series, I walked away.
I don't see what the problem is. Spyro had a long and fruitful career after his appearance in Skylanders.
I think Activision's made it abundantly clear that they just don't care about Crash the way fans do, and that's just something that unfortunately I think fans are just going to have to accept. I fully expect Crash to be revived via Skylanders Imaginators, but I don't think there will be a new game, and I don't know if I think there will ever be a new game. I'm not a Crash fan myself, but I certainly feel bad for the fan base. I want them to get what they want, just because it's so much worse thinking about the fact that he might just get revived via Skylanders.
Yeah. I don't even look at it as a revival. I look at it as I'm wringing the last little bit of life that Crash has. Sucking out the last of his soul to cash in.
Speaking of revivals, though, I do think that we're going to get a new trailer and a big new update on Shenmue 3.
Shenmue 3?
Yeah.
I think that's a guarantee.
I think that'd be a very good thing for them to follow up on, especially after... Cause we haven't seen much of that game since E3, so now's a good time for an update.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Do you think... I absolutely believe it's way too soon for an announcement of The Last of Us 2. Excuse me, because they just wrapped up Uncharted 4. So,
yeah, right.
Given that, do you think there's a chance we might get some Uncharted 4 story DLC, like The Last of Us Left Behind?
Wasn't that announced? Might be Uncharted 4 story DLC.
I can't remember. Was that announced?
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of the DLC pack that you can get, the season pass. And I vaguely remember, like, when I went to buy it, the GameStop person said, "Do you want to get this because there's going to be story DLC?" So maybe something from that. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I feel like I've heard it talked about, but I don't know in what context. I know a lot of people would love it, but I also find myself wondering what exactly they could do. You know, I could think of at least one thing.
Could do stuff off the epilogue, yeah.
Yeah, they could do a playable Sam Sully story.
Oh, that'd be cool too.
Yeah,
I'd actually be down
totally
for that.
Yeah, you know, I feel like that's even more likely. I feel like they have really kind of held fast to the idea that Nate is over. Nate's story is done. He's going off into the sunset. But Sam, the way they kind of build that up in the ending, I feel like a playable Sam adventure is very likely.
What about Claudia, who we never saw anything from in Uncharted 4?
Oh yeah, they could have her come into that story. Like they just happened to meet Claudia during it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Claudia?
Or no, not Claudia. Chloe.
Oh, Chloe. Sorry.
Oh, Chloe. I was like, who are you talking about?
You confused me, Andre.
Yeah, no,
I loved how I bought in because I knew exactly who you were talking about.
I was so confident. I was so confident.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see Chloe making like a cameo appearance in a potential Sam Sully DLC story.
That'd be fun. Maybe wrap up Nadine's story too. See more of her.
That's true.
That's a massive not really a cliffhanger, but like a loose end there.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens to her? So
there's a lot of potential there, and I'd be like, I don't usually get DLC that often, but I'd totally pick that up, see what they come up with, and hopefully have something meaty. I'm hoping. My hope is that it won't be just like a 1 or 2 hour like extra story thing. I want something give me at least 3 to 5 hours.
Okay, so I'm actually reading right now that Uncharted 4 single-player DLC has been confirmed. So
we'll probably get to see something of that. I don't know if we'll see. The thing is, I think there's 2 teams for Uncharted for Naughty Dog, and you're pretty confident that the other game that they're working on is Last of Us 2? Or do you think we'll see something completely new from them?
I think it's The Last of Us 2. I think they've dropped enough hints toward that I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
Wasn't Uncharted 4 The Last of Us 2?
It kind of felt like it sometimes, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, certainly The Last of Us's influence in Uncharted 4 was unmistakable, but I do think The Last of Us 2 is going to be the next big Naughty Dog game for sure.
More than likely. Love this. I'm trying to think what else Sony could introduce. Like, maybe new IPs, of course. Not sure how many new ones we'll get or anything, like, building up over sequels. It's been 2 years since... I'm just going to say, wonder if we get a Bloodborne 2, but I think it's a little too early for a Bloodborne 2 yet.
Yeah, and it's obviously way too soon for anything Ratchet and Clank related.
Yeah.
Possibly Sly Cooper? Possibly.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. We have not heard anything from Sucker Punch in a while. Not since Infamous.
So it might be time for a new Sly Cooper game, but I think Ratchet and Clank will be taking a year off for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'm excited for anything that would come out of Sucker Punch. I've always been a big fan of their games and what they do, and whether it's more Infamous or new idea. You know, I think, wasn't there a rumor that Sucker Punch was working on a Spider-Man game?
I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah,
which that'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Well, so I guess the big question then is, I mean, now that I've read Uncharted 4 DLC has been confirmed, do we think it'll be announced this year at their conference? Do you think so?
Oh, yeah.
It has to.
Yeah. That'd be the best way to continue it both sells Uncharted 4 to people who haven't picked it up yet and gets those people that have already bought it hyped for the next bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes complete sense. Do you think, when you were talking about Shenmue, do you think we'll see like a Shenmue 1 and 2 HD collection to try to help push that game?
Sega actually made a statement about that recently, saying they were actively looking into it.
Ooh.
So I think that is a distinct possibility. I don't know if it'll be E3, but I would be shocked if that didn't happen before or prior to the release of Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a game they would have to seriously revamp. I mean, they'd have to go back and redo some things, I think, to make that accessible to modern gamers. I was watching the breakdown by who are the guys? Digital Foundry? Yeah. The guys who do the graphic breakdowns, and they did one for a retro one for Shenmue. And I'm like, oh yeah, the game looks a little bit hard to go back to with how it controlled and everything.
Well, just also the subject matter and the forklift driving and all that. Like, I've never played the games. I'd be interested to go to them and see why it's so beloved by some people. I'm not sure if I would honestly get it, but I'll give it a shot. I guess the one thing we haven't actually mentioned, Ash, for Sony's conference is, since Square Enix is not holding a conference, do you think we'll see a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and Kingdom Hearts 3?
Kingdom Hearts 3, no, because at the end of the Kingdom Hearts 2.8 trailer, it straight up says new announcements coming this winter for Kingdom Hearts 3. So
I completely agree with you. I don't think you're going to take the time for it. I think 2.8 is all we're going to get, and since that's coming out in December, they can just wait for when 2.8 comes out. I'm sure there'll be something within 2.8 to hype up Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. I'm unsure. I'm 50-50 on the idea of a new FF7 Remake trailer. I feel like it makes sense to do one, but at the same time, Square seems to have already kind of shown their E3 hand in terms of what they have to talk about this year. So, and 7 Remake's not part of that. So maybe they're waiting for later this year, Tokyo Game Show potentially. It may just be a little too soon to expect more on that. But given that E3 last year was FF7 Remake's big debut, I would hope there will be something. And I think if there is something, it'll be part of Sony's conference. I don't think it'll be anything Square releases themselves, but I think it would have to be part of Sony's conference.
Yeah, I'd expect maybe not anything major, but enough to go beyond what they've shown so far, and show Tifa gameplay, show Aerith gameplay. And you know what the real money shot could be? Because people were talking about it so much, Cloud in his dress.
That's true. Cross-dressing Cloud.
And on cross-dressing Cloud, crowd would go wild.
That's true. Now that you've mentioned that, I hope that happens. That would be
I do
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
I want that so much now. Just end on talking, showing all these maybe some semi-serious stuff where you're at the Seventh Heaven bar and you're talking to Tifa. It has the scene where you're Cloud falls through the ceiling and you meet Aerith for the first time. Yeah. And a couple of fights around those points, and then boom, Cloud and drag.
Yeah. I kind of think, now the more I think about it, I think, yes, there will be at least some new FF7 Remake footage during Sony's conference. Kingdom Hearts 3, no, for sure no. Mm-hmm. 7 Remake, I think probably. For me, the big mystery right now is FF15, because right now, actually right before we started recording this, I read that Square is holding their next active time report 8 o'clock p.m. The night of the Sony conference. So it's going to be happening during the Sony conference, which is a little suspicious to me. So yeah. I'm wondering if we might get a big FF15 expose at the Sony conference as well. Because now that we know the game is pretty much in its final stages of development.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll get more... have they announced a release date for Kingsglaive?
They haven't, but I bet we'll get that. I bet we'll get... Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably get that, and we'll probably... I would not be surprised if the second episode of the anime Final Fantasy 15 shorts comes out during E3.
I wouldn't either. I think we will get something new about Kingsglaive and Brotherhood for sure.
Mm-hmm. And probably a bit of new gameplay, maybe actually showing how you fly around in the car and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we'll definitely get a big gameplay expose because the game's essentially, wrapping up now. So
oh yeah,
I do think 15 will be a big focus of Sony's conference, and I've already had some people ask me if I think we'll get more information or footage of Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, and absolutely not. They just announced that, and that was the E3 announcement, the fact that it exists. There's no way that game's anywhere near ready to be shown off more, so the fact that it exists is all we're getting for now. for the Zodiac.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm happy with that announcement. I've seen some of the comparisons, and boy, did that game need the HD treatment. Now that I look at those comparisons, it doesn't have that muddy look anymore. I hear the international version is so much better than the original because I could not get into Final Fantasy 12.
Me neither. 12 is still the only mainline Final Fantasy game that I could not be asked to finish. I'm like, I just don't care about this game. It's so dull to me. So, by the way, we just lost the respect of like 1 million Final Fantasy fans who are Game Explain fans.
Well, the thing is, I wanted to get into that game, but then it became like an hour of story, 5 hours of grinding.
Totally.
Is what it felt like for me, which was hard. And it's not that I mean, it just didn't hit me. And I'm really hoping the HD version really hits that thing. I really want to try to do it this time because I've heard such good things. I love the world of Avalis so much because of tactics and whatnot. I want to get into it.
Yeah.
Speaking of RPGs, do you think we'll get more out of Persona 5?
No, I mean, I think Atlas has been very open in terms of what they're doing for Persona 5 at E3, and I think that's what we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get anything on top of that.
Okay. You think they're just going to stick with what they've shown so far and not show anything new, specifically for English audiences or anything like that?
That's kind of my feeling, because they've come out and said that we're not even getting Persona 5 here until Valentine's Day next year. So
true,
I think they've kind of,
that's before E3, and I feel like Sony knows that this is a big franchise for them. So I almost feel like they might have something Persona related there.
It's a big franchise in context, but it's not Final Fantasy big.
Well, I guess you make a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we've heard all we're going to hear about Persona 5 at E3. I hope not, but I just kind of feel like Atlas got that out of the way. Like, we know you guys are wondering, hey, look, here's the limited edition, here's the box art, here's the release date. They might maybe show off a new trailer, but I don't know.
Yeah. Now, I think I'm out of predictions for Sony, for the Sony's conference.
I was going to say, it's about time to break up the Sony party of you guys.
I know, right? Well, I feel like we covered Square. Like, I feel like
we
a lot
covered
of it's
Square there.
Yeah, a lot of that is also kind of Xbox related.
That's
as well.
true. So, I'll kick things off here with a Microsoft prediction. And, well, I guess there's a couple things here. There have been some rumblings, and one of those rumblings is that there's a new Battletoads game in the works. And I guess those we've heard that on and off over the past year or so, I think. But these are recent. And I believe the rumor, though, is that it may not necessarily be made by Rare. It may or may not be. And I think whether it's made by Rare or not might, like I feel like I would take the idea of its scope differently depending on what studio it's coming from. If it's coming from Rare, maybe I think it might be a little bit more grandiose, maybe a full 3D game. I don't think it would be regardless, but if it's made by someone not Rare, I'm confident it's going to be like some, like an update basically, another side-scrolling beat 'em up, right?
Yeah.
Like in the style of the old ones. So either way, that'd be cool, but I think I would prefer them to go a little bit further with the franchise than just an update. But maybe that's what the series needs.
I highly doubt that Rare would be the one developing it unless they have a bigger team than I thought, because they're focused on their pirate game, which we'll probably see more of as well. I forget the name of it.
We will see more of Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Oh, God.
We'll see more.
I'm impressed you remembered the name. That's actually
only because I literally had this list of rumors up on my screen. It was right below the Battletoads ones.
I honestly thought it was Sea of Pirates. I didn't. I really thought that's what the game was called.
Oh yeah.
That game just bored me to tears when it was revealed.
It doesn't have the rhyme. Sea of Thieves. It's not Sea of Pirates. Yeah. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if Rare is making a game besides Sea of Thieves and it's not Banjo-Kazooie, I just can't. Like, I don't want Battletoads. I want Banjo-Kazooie. I don't care about Battletoads. How are they even still a thing? Like,
I do.
The Battletoads, they weren't that popular.
I think they were. I mean, I think they were pretty popular back in the day, weren't they?
Yeah. They were as popular as like Double Dragon, and Double Dragon Neon came out. But it's like, how are the Battletoads really that still treated like they're that big a deal? Like,
don't get me wrong,
they're more infamous than anything else.
Yeah, I would definitely want a new Banjo too, but at least we have Yooka-Laylee on that front. And I think like any return to form for Rare, I will take at this point, because God, it's been too long since they've made. Do you remember when we thought Sea of Thieves was Banjo?
Or maybe not Banjo,
rumors. But sorry, what?
There there had been so many rumors around that around the Microsoft conference last year that they were basically going to announce Banjo, and I think we bought it. We are all so expecting it.
Yeah.
I was laughing at you guys when it didn't happen.
I was so convinced. I'm like, they're trolling us. Like, at first, I'm like, it's starting the first person. I'm like, oh, they're hiding who you are. It's gotta be, and they had like that stylistic world. I'm like, it has to be Banjo. But then you see the character's hands. I'm like, oh, that's not a bear hand. So maybe this is a Saberwolf update. That could work. Whatever. It's classic Rare. I'll take it.
I remember.
Nope, it's some new MMO thing. But
I remember we all four of us went to get pizza afterward at some random place near the Galen Center, and even that pizza was disappointing because we were all our hearts were so heavy.
No, you were so salty. Like, I always get on you because you always I want to taste the salt. I hope that this bad thing happens to the fans because I just want to see the reactions and feed off their salt.
I don't quite feel that. You make me sound so. I don't quite feel that way. I just like chaos in general. I just think yeah.
So your whole chaos thing. Yeah, and so your whole thing with chaos, and now I got a taste of that with the whole Sea of Thieves thing because I could just see you guys deflate when you saw the pirate thing.
You did see us deflate.
Oh God.
Jeez. You sound kind of like a psychopath right now. I was reveling in your disappointment. I could see the sadness wash over your face.
I don't get to enjoy that much. Usually it's me disappointed.
That's true. Well, I'll remember this. Next time you have a game you're really excited about and it doesn't pan out the way you want, I'm going to remember this.
Fair enough.
I mean, what if they did announce a new Banjo, though? Can you imagine? Holy crap.
But no, let's not even go down this road.
Especially with the whole Yooka-Laylee thing going on.
Yeah.
Well, let's not even go down this road, though. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
I know.
Like, we can't. It's going to be Battletoads. And for the record, I believe that's real. I think Battletoads is going to happen, and I'm going to be pissed.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think it is.
And I'm not against another company taking it, because obviously Killer Instinct ended up very well. So it's not an immediately bad thing, and whatever you say about Sea of Thieves, I'll give it I'm not going to play it because I don't have an Xbox One and I don't care to get one, but I'll give it a shot as far as concept because this is Rare doing an original IP again. They're doing their own thing. It's not sports related or Connect related. They're doing something different, and I have to imagine that the passion is there. This does not feel like a project that is being handed down on high as to you must do this.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll announce Banjo and they'll announce that it's been outsourced to Playtonic. There you go.
That's why they've been bulking up their staff. They can work on multiple games
after Yooka-Laylee. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be epic. Yep. All right. Well, that's the thing I care most about Microsoft's conference.
Yeah,
so.
I think there will be a new Forza game announced. I think there have been rumors about a new Forza series, possibly. Like a new line for the series, so I think there's going to be some major Forza-related announcement, but that in itself isn't that big a surprise.
Yeah, it'll be Forza. We'll get more information on Gears of War 4, which Tom is completely right. It should be called Gears of 4.
It totally should be. Yeah.
Speaking of Gears of War, real quick, I guess one of the rumors is that General Ram, if that's how you say it, would be coming to Killer Instinct 3.
Cool, I guess.
Okay.
Or Season 3, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Cool. It doesn't really. I've not really played any Gears of War games beyond the first one, and I don't remember any of the characters outside of Dom and Marcus Phoenix and Coltrane, I think his name was.
I like the first one. I cannot get into 3 though. I tried playing 3, couldn't do it anymore. So
yeah. Killer Instinct. That's weird. I mean, okay, so there definitely going to be some Killer Instinct related announcements, but that whole game to me is just like. It's so weird because it has the identity of the original Killer Instincts, and at the same time it doesn't. Because
now it's doing the Smash Brothers thing.
It's doing the Smash Brothers thing where you're getting, but like where Smash has been known for the crossover elements, it's Brawl. Killer Instinct never had that, so suddenly we're getting like one of the Battletoads again with the Battletoads. Why are they so omnipresent?
The closest thing I can think of. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, to be fair, Battletoads makes more sense in Killer Instinct than Banjo-Kazooie.
That's very true. Although that would be. Awesome. Can you imagine Banjo-Kazooie and Killer Instinct?
Oh my god. Dude, I'm so there. I don't even play Killer Instinct. I would pick it up and get amazing at that game.
I would be there for that.
For Banjo-Kazooie.
But yeah, so you've got like random Battletoads, and you've got like again this Gears of War character, and yeah, it's Killer Instinct's kind of doing this Mortal Kombat thing where it's just starting to do these random crossovers with totally weird characters.
Yeah, it is weird. It doesn't quite work. I mean, I think it doesn't work because, well, I say it doesn't, I shouldn't be saying that. I say it doesn't work as one who doesn't even play the game, so I shouldn't be saying that. It does seem weird, though, because I think it's throwing the balance off, right?
Yeah.
It does seem like most of the recent announcements have been characters from other IPs that don't even fit in thematically, really, with the game at all.
Yeah.
So... Although I guess, to be fair...
It works, I think, because of that.
Yeah, the original game was like a hodgepodge. You had, like, the dead character, you had, like, the alien, right? Dinosaurs. I guess it does kind of work in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been a weird franchise.
One thing we totally missed on Sony is Gravity Rush 2. That'll be a big focus.
I never played the original, but I bet this is something that I've been meaning to pick up the PS4 remaster.
Yeah.
Because I've heard such good things. So that's one thing that's on my list that I need to get to eventually.
That'll definitely get some decent focus during Sony's conference, I think.
I'm trying to think of other potential projects from Microsoft, but I'm really kind of blanking. I guess, who do you think will get the Battlefield 1 presentation? Because E3 is having another presentation this year, right? But they have a conference, I believe, even though they're not going to be... I don't think they're going to have a booth. I think they might have a conference. But usually EA stuff still ends up on one of the two main shows.
That sounds like an Xbox thing to me. I think if Battlefield gets spotlighted anywhere, it'll be the Microsoft conference.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1 on Xbox One. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, so there's that. Then there's the Halo factor, which it's way too soon for Halo 6, but I think there have been rumors about Halo Wars 2 getting announced.
That's right.
And shown off,
yeah.
So I feel like that seems likely. Again, it's too soon for Halo 6, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're not going to hear anything about Halo 6, I think.
Yeah. Till next year, yeah.
Well, I don't hear that much about Halo 5, to be honest.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
I feel
it kind of came and went, didn't it?
It totally did. They need to revamp that series or go back to its roots, maybe more specifically, because I don't even think Halo knows what it is anymore, and they need to fix that because that was their biggest IP, and now it seems like just a footnote. It's weird how that series has fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like a big Halo fan too back in the day.
Oh, I was too. I played through every single game in the Halo franchise with a friend in split screens co-op, and we did not play Halo 5 because there was no split screen co-op. We said screw it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the industry's love letter with Halo has more or less ended. Like, I mean, they're still important releases, and they still get a huge amount of press and attention, and they're still typically well reviewed. But I don't know. I feel like some of the fervor surrounding Halo has definitely dissipated, and I feel like that started maybe around the time the Master Chief Collection came out and was so terrible.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah.
That didn't help. I also don't think it's the sole reason why we're not hearing much about Halo. I mean,
I think Bungie leaving did not help at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Halo has an identity crisis. It doesn't quite know what it wants to be. I know that... I haven't played Halo 5, but based on what I've seen, it doesn't look that interesting to me, and I didn't like Halo 4. It's as a series, like, I liked Halo because it wasn't Call of Duty, and them trying to make it more like Call of Duty and those style of games doesn't interest me at all. Like, there's tons of other games that already do that, probably that better than Halo, probably. So I want to play Halo for what Halo is, not what they're trying to make it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of felt like everything after Halo 3, because I think that was the point at which the story they kind of originally envisioned kind of came to its natural conclusion, right? And then they kind of shoehorned in this new arc starting with Halo 4, and I don't really feel like people have taken to it as much.
You know what? I would be totally okay if they just rebooted the series at this point.
Yeah.
Just start over from square one. You can redo all that cool stuff that was in the first few Halos, and then we have to shoe in whatever they're doing now. I don't even know what the stories are, the latest ones, but it didn't hook me at all.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're treading water, so I'd be cool if they just reboot it and just start over and make it good.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of going back to the roots and the revivals and all that, this isn't technically, I doubt this, I don't know if it'll be at the Xbox conference or not, but Bethesda's having a conference again, and they've actually seen a lot of success with, a few years ago, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, with their Castle Wolfenstein reboot, which I actually heard was very good and had actually a very good story to it too, which I'm shocked about. I actually want to go and pick that up at some point because I've actually heard so many good things. And now more recently with Doom. And I've actually heard a couple rumors that they might be showing a Wolfenstein sequel, which, I mean, that's really cool that they're going back to the roots of early first-person shooters and actually finally having some success with them because they are sticking so close to the roots. That's why everybody loves the new Doom single-player campaign, because it is fast, it is brutal, it is a complete homage to what the original was, while still being something that modern gamers can get into and still enjoy. And I love that sort of fun aspect is coming back to first-person shooters.
Sure.
And I'd love to. I would not mind to see another Wolfenstein. I would not mind to see Wolfenstein 2 announced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the New Order did really well. It was really well received, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I guess we've mostly covered Sony and Microsoft, yeah?
I think we have, yeah.
The only remaining predictions or things I have to talk about are Sega and Capcom related, and really mostly Capcom. Which we've covered Square, and Konami is Konami, so...
Yeah.
We know what's Konami got.
So on the Sega front, one thing I think we are not going to get is the long-awaited reveal of the new Sonic game coming up. They've already said that they've very strongly hinted that there's some event they're going to hold in July. I believe it's July 22nd, where they're going to blow the lid off the new Sonic game. So I think Sonic Boom Fire and Ice is going to be it for Sonic at E3. I don't think they're going to talk about this big new game they've been hinting at for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I'm actually kind of excited about it. Like, there seems to be
no, it's a Sonic cycle. It's
I know,
starting.
but remember, I'm also a little more lenient on Sonic than most. Like, I don't think all the recent games have been terrible. I think they're okay, or even pretty good. But I don't know. It feels like they've got something up their sleeve with this Sonic game. I feel like something is going to surprise people about this game. Could be wrong, but
Sonic doesn't wear sleeves.
Yeah, well, the common rumors...
Jesus.
The common
Why would you say that?
The common thing that a lot of people I talked to a lot of Sonic fans and whatnot, and a lot of the rumors that they've heard about, a lot of stuff they'd want to see out of Sonic, or at least the big hope, is like a
good game.
That and a Sonic Adventure remake.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people would love to see that, either Sonic Adventure remake or finally, of course, Sonic Adventure 3, which I don't know if that'll ever happen. But I could maybe see a Sonic Adventure remake and just seeing, like, redoing that game and fixing it up and, like, doing a full-on remaster of it. I think that could do, well, it would do very well, no matter what.
I think so, too.
You know what I want a Sonic level, almost like a free roaming Sonic game. Maybe not to the extent of like a whole open world, but like at least miniature worlds that you can go any direction in, you can do different stuff in. Like almost like I want the Mario 64 for Sonic. I think it'd be so awesome if you saw like a mountain in the background, you could just like dash there in like a few seconds. Like I want like to have some agency in those games instead of being locked into those constant, like
showpieces.
Yeah, exactly.
I seem to remember you talking about how you actually really liked the random Sonic DLC, the Zelda DLC.
I did
for
actually
Sonic Lost World, because you got to kind of explore a large world as Sonic like that.
That's actually a great point. I love that. Even though it wasn't that big, I actually had a really fun time with that. Partially because it was Zelda themed, and that was fun.
Right.
But yeah, I actually said at the time, I think I even used it as an example, like what I want from Zelda Wii U.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if we got a Sonic game in that style where you actually, it's a little bit more open. That you can actually do different things. Maybe you have to think about how, you go places as opposed to just being given the path.
Sonic Adventure 3. You're having an adventure.
Honestly, the more I think about it, if they did announce Sonic Adventure 3, or if this new Sonic game is Adventure 3, and they really knocked it out of the park, that could be one of the most exciting Sonic-related developments in, like, a decade. If they nailed it. Like, just imagine if they nailed, like, a Sonic, really, really knocked it out of the park. That could be so cool and so good.
And it really does feel like they've been taking their time with them, because they didn't have a game last year because that was the year of Sonic Boom. The year before that, I believe, was with Sonic Lost World, and this is one of the longer development times the Sonic team has had with the franchise. So
yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. I have this weird feeling that whatever this new Sonic game ends up being Sonic Team's new game is going to end up surprising people. That's just a totally off the wall prediction, but yeah.
Well, they do like to switch it up every game for whatever reason, it seems. So.
Oh, but I mean, like, surprise people in a good way. I think people are going to be like, I think people are going to be like, oh, wow, this actually looks really cool. We're legitimately excited. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I did like Sonic Color. That was a really fun game. But I think, what actually getting back to my idea a little bit is I've heard one of the problems with Sonic is that, like, because he's going through these levels so fast, like, it costs too much to make these levels because he's just burning through them at the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And that's why I think maybe going like a more Mario 64 route might be the best thing to do because you can get more mileage out of those levels. You get more stuff to do in a single area, right? So.
But Sonic tends to suffer when you slow him down. I mean, I think the reason why Sonic Team really hit on something that worked was because it combined that speed that Sonic is known for with levels that were fun to actually play through. When you slow him down, I feel like you lose a lot of what makes Sonic Sonic.
Yeah, I don't think you need to necessarily slow him down all the time. I think you can make like a Mario 64 style world on a larger scale where you're actually running places and
then jumping into these worlds, which again is a very much Sonic adventure. You have an open world. You have this world that you run around in. It's not huge or anything, of course, an adventure, but then you go to the levels and that's where you get your speed sections at. So it still kind of works, but the idea of being able to run around in this overworld with things to do, events to encounter, it's not a bad idea.
That would be really cool, having like a giant hub just to run around as Sonic. Like, even envisioning like just running around grassy hills and mountains. Like, that's awesome.
You know what I'm reminded of? I'm actually reminded of that Sonic... Oh, what was it called? That Sonic Remix, I think, or the Saturn game?
Sonic Jam.
Sonic Jam, yeah.
Yeah.
That had like that hub you could run around in and do stuff with. And I never actually played it myself, but I remember looking at pictures like, oh, that looks awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. Just Sonic in true 3D.
Yeah, that's really technically the first time Sonic was in 3D.
What it should be is Sonic 2006 HD. Let's just do that. Let's just make that the new game.
There are fans of that game, and I think a few people, like, if you fix the story, of course all the bugs and all that, people would be kind of excited for that.
I don't know if there's any fixing that story. Like, literally, I don't know if there's any way that could be solved.
By fixing I mean completely rewriting.
Yeah, you'd have to, pretty much. The only reason that story works is because it's all retconned at the end. That's the only reason that story is okay. Because it never
how did they retcon it?
It was all time travel. Basically, they make it as if
basically at the end you have it so no never happens. But
it's a Mario Galaxy ending.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Except with 100% more, hedgehog on human action.
Oh my god. 100% more?
Yeah, because there was none in Mario.
So you guys both saw the Fire and Ice trailer, right?
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it.
Do you guys have any impressions of that?
It looks like the definition of like a 6 or 7 out of 10 game. There's nothing that looks like it's really wrong with it. And there was nothing really wrong with Shattered Crystal either. It was an okay game, and I feel like that's what Fire and Ice is going to be.
Yeah, I rated it a like, and I think that's what Fire and Ice is going to be. It's not going to be anything better, but it's certainly not going to be anything worse. And I think it might be improved just a little bit. But again, just looking at it, it's like there's nothing truly exciting about it. It's hard to get truly excited about Sonic on a handheld.
There's absolutely nothing surprising about that game, and that's not necessarily bad. I mean, if the formula for Shattered Crystal works, then hey, you know what? They might as well do one more.
And they've already talked about how they're improving on it. So
yeah. I was surprised by I looked at the trailer and had a ton of dislikes already, and I thought that was it Shattered Crystal? It wasn't a bad game, was it?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't, but here's the thing. People don't care about that. The focus is entirely on Rise of Lyric. So to some people, this might as well be a sequel to Rise of Lyric, not Shattered Crystal.
Yeah, that is a good... Yeah, it's a whole...
Yeah, well, and it's also just what Sonic Boom represents. Like, most Sonic fans, I think, don't care about Sonic Boom.
The only thing they like about Sonic Boom is the TV show.
Yeah, like, they basically, when it comes to the games, they want Sonic Team's games. And I just think the dislike to like ratio on that video is more indicative of that than anything, which sucks because it's not Sunzaru Games' fault. Then they're doing the best they can, but they're shouting into the abyss basically.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, that leaves me with a couple of Capcom predictions.
All right.
One game I think we're absolutely going to get, and one game I think we're not going to get. So the game I think is going to happen is Resident Evil 7. I think it's only a matter of time, and I think that time is next week.
Yep.
I agree
with that.
Yeah. And I hope it's awesome because it's been a while since we've had an awesome Resident Evil game.
And I think
they'll go back. Do you think they'll go back to the old style of Resident Evil, or do you think they'll stick with the 4, 5, 6 template? whatever
I
that
think
may
there will be a lot of lip service paid to the idea of going back to its horror-based roots, but that will not actually be what ends up happening.
They need to look at what Dead Space is and was and do it that way.
At least the first game, because 2 and 3 really kind of were not as much that.
Yeah, no, I didn't think 2 was bad, but
2 was fine, but yeah. No, I agree. I think that I do think they might be looking at the drawing board, especially since obviously fans are demanding more of horror elements into the franchise, and I think that's going to be maybe a major focus for 7 if it's announced. But we also heard rumors about, or at least confirmation that they are working on a remake of 2. Do you think we'll get 7, or do you think we'll show off the 2 remake?
I actually completely forgot about that. I do think we're going to get 7, but we might also get the Resident Evil 2 remake as well. I don't know. That feels more like a Tokyo Game Show reveal to me, actually. I don't know why, maybe. But I mean, it seems entirely plausible that we could get both. But I feel like if they have to choose and they don't want to risk diluting one or the other, they're going to choose Resident Evil 7 first, and then push Resident Evil 2 remake off for a later reveal.
Yeah, I could see that. Perhaps.
But I mean, they have to take notice how well the remasters of both Resident Evil 1 and 0 did.
True.
So I think that might be a signal to Captain that people like the horror elements. I'm not sure how well. I think 6 has come out again as far as the on the new consoles. I have no idea how well that sold.
I don't either. It did just come out.
Yeah, and I think the Revelations games have done well.
They have. Because they've done. Yeah.
I think people have been sending a message to Capcom that they want, have the scariness factor that Resident Evil used to have.
Yeah, so. I think the Revelations game's success is basically predicated on the fact that they're kind of closer to those horror roots that Resident Evil is known for than the numbered sequels are. So I think if Capcom's smart, and I think they have been paying attention to, kind of what fans have been clamoring for Resident Evil, I think they will make 7 more in the style of at least the Revelation games.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good bet.
Yeah. Now the game I think we're not getting, and that a lot of people want, and just there have been a lot of rumors about this game maybe being in development and people kind of latching onto it. I don't think it's happening. Devil May Cry 5.
I just started seeing rumors about that today.
I did too, and I've seen a few over the last few weeks, and I just signs point to it not. There are some signs pointing to it maybe happening. I mean, DMC4 Special Edition, just the fact that even exists tells me that they remember that the original DMC series is still a thing, and they're not necessarily interested in making DMC2. But I don't know if Devil May Cry 5 is happening. I think it might happen eventually, just not yet.
That would be big, I think, if they announced that. Especially if they went back to original Dante. I think fans would flip if they showed off the kind of insane action in actual gameplay, not a pre-rendered trailer. I think people would get really excited.
Me too.
There's a lot of things. I think there's a lot of potential for that. Like, just off the top of my head, ways to get people excited. A tag mechanic with Dante. So you're doing a combo with Dante. Tag. Trish comes in. You can continue the combo with her, or maybe it's Nero or Lady. That kind of thing. There's still a lot of legs to this franchise. I think they could really tap into it, and obviously they've seen it. People prefer classic Dante, so
yeah. I mean, I feel like they must know that the fan base is just desperate for DMC5, and it's kind of strange that it hasn't happened already. I'm surprised that there hasn't been an announcement kind of in the wake of DMC's kind of middling success. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a thing. I just don't know if I believe it's going to happen this E3.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could see it happening, but I could also see them waiting a bit.
Yeah.
So, not sure. Now, question for you, Ash. When did they announce the original Legacy Collection?
That was just prior to last year's E3.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just
May.
wondering if maybe we could see an announcement for like Legacy Collection 2 where we get 7 through 10.
Maybe. I would love that. I just don't know. I don't think Digital Eclipse would be working on it. I think they're doing other stuff right now, so I don't know if they would be available to do it right now. I kind of think it's not quite time for that. And I wonder if I don't know if like for the Mega Man franchise as a whole and where they're at with it right now and what they're trying to do with it, I don't know if announcing 2 compilations of the old games back to back is necessarily the message they want to send. You know?
That is a good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, I feel like there might be another collection down the road, but I think it'll be after whatever new game there might end up being.
Yeah, if we get a new game.
I still do firmly believe there will be one. It might be based on the TV show, hopefully not, but there have been enough signs from Capcom for me to really believe that Mega Man isn't dead like people like to say he is. I think there's going to be something. I think they're just trying to figure out what that thing is.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, we'll see.
Yeah,
but,
I do have a Capcom related question for you guys though. The announcement of Injustice 2 actually got me thinking, what if, I mean, it's been a few years now, since it's been a minute since Ultimate MVC3 came out. What if they surprised everyone and revealed MVC4 out of nowhere? Especially considering Street Fighter V doesn't really seem to have the life that, at least not yet, that they were hoping it would.
Is that possible? Because didn't they lose the Marvel license, and that's why they couldn't?
This is video games. Anything's possible. I mean, yeah, they lost the license to use for the MVC3 stuff, but there's no reason they couldn't have gone back and drawn up a new contract for a new game.
That is true. And especially with as popular as Marvel is right now, there's a lot of characters to choose from to really get people interested in that type of thing. That'd be cool. I mean, I'd be completely down for that. Do you think they'd go even crazier and try to do a Darkstalkers?
That I wonder. I don't think so, for the same reason I don't think they're going to do a new Rival Schools. I just don't think the audience is there. Darkstalkers has like a super small, really dedicated fan base, but I don't think it's really big enough for them to spend the money on a full new game.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if they're going to show a new fighting game quite yet. They're probably still digging themselves out with Street Fighter 4.
Or 5, yeah.
Yeah, 5, excuse me. Still probably going to put the focus on that.
Yeah, they did just release a lot of news, actually, about the big June update. It's going to add a bunch of new stuff to the game. So, yeah, they might just stay the course and focus entirely on Street Fighter 5, and that's it.
Yeah. That's sort of what I'm expecting. It'd be cool to get an Marvel vs. Capcom 4, or the whole crazy idea of Nintendo versus Capcom, which I doubt is going to happen.
God, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be otherwise, as far I can't think of other big companies, but I am excited. There's a couple. There's a lot of Kickstarter games that we're actually going to be able to get a try out. Obviously, Yooka-Laylee. We know Shantae is going to be there, and actually just found out that Bloodstain's going to be playable there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's going to be playable at E3, and they're actually putting out that demo to their backers that paid, I think, at the $60 level.
Oh, that's right. I did read about that. Yeah,
and I can't remember if I did that. Yeah, I can't remember if I paid it $60 or not. I think I did. I think I did pledge enough to get the box copy, so I might have pledged $60 for that.
I think I did too. Yeah, I won't be able to play the demo anyway, but yeah.
But
I mean, I can't at E3, but
yeah. But what do you guys think about any big hopes for these 3 games? I guess, Andre, start with you since you were excited for Yooka-Laylee.
I mean, that's the main one. That's what I'm excited for, and I do hope it actually is playable. I don't know if they've said either way yet.
No.
But I think at that recent press event in Europe, I don't think people actually played it there. So I'm a little bit concerned that maybe we won't be playing it ourselves. But I hope we are, because I am looking forward to playing it. But I'll take what I can get at this point. So that probably is actually one of my more hyped games at E3. Probably second to Zelda, actually. So
yeah,
nice. Yeah, the trailer was great. So
I'm incredibly hyped for both Yooka-Laylee and Bloodstained. I'm hyped to a degree for Shantae. I think I just don't know. As much as I love Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, I can't say I loved what I've seen of the new direction for the series, but I've also seen so little of it that, I don't think it's fair for me to draw a conclusion. So I think what it is for me is that I'm going to miss the pixel art and the pixel animation. Like, it's cool that they're going to a hand-drawn style, and it does look nice, but there are so many other 2D platformers that already go by that style, and I think one of the most charming things about Shantae was that they were these awesome games with, wrapped up in this beautiful pixel animation, which I love pixel. I love that as an art style, and I'm kind of sad to see Shantae leave that behind. But I'm sure the game's still going to be awesome.
I feel like there's no lack of other pixel-based games.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
So that's true too. I think I just
They're
liked
both
it in
very much
Shantae
flooded.
specifically. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to playing the game. I have no doubt that Shantae Half Genie Hero is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Oh, what about, you know what, I just got reminded, what about Cuphead?
Oh yeah,
Cuphead?
completely
Oh,
forgot
man,
about Cuphead.
I'm so hyped for that game, but it's Xbox
Did you-
One.
Have you seen the latest videos for it too that show the new platforming sections they've added to the
No,
game?
Oh, I
haven't.
did not.
It looks great.
Oh,
I'm
God.
I'm so excited for that because I got I have my new laptop now. I can play this game when it comes out on PC.
That's right.
I'm so hyped for that. Even much more hyped now because I can actually play the dang game.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Talk about a style that just works. Like I cannot wait to play more of it because I had fun last year's E3. My partner wasn't great, but I was doing pretty well.
Yeah, honestly, if Cuphead itself, I'm so enthusiastic about. I love what I played. I love what it looks like. I just wish it was on PS4. Like, I don't have an Xbox One. I'm not going to buy an Xbox One specifically for Cuphead. And I don't play games on Steam, so I'm kind of, SOL where Cuphead's concerned. But if it was on a platform that I could play it on, I would be super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you because that's how I was feeling. It's like, wish this was on something I could play it on. But
Yeah.
I don't know. If this game is a success, it might be. They might. I don't know what kind of deal they have with Microsoft, but they might push to have it on other consoles or on the PS4.
I sure hope they do.
Yeah, I do too because, God, that game is gorgeous. Like it just fits that style so well.
Yeah.
Like the possibilities, like I just had a thought, like Disney's not doing anything with Disney Interactive anymore, but what if they worked with the Cuphead studio and like had a classic Mickey style game with that art style with classic Mickey?
Hey, Disney doesn't hand animate either anymore. So
Yeah,
Oh
really.
yeah,
Yeah, that's just crazy talk. That would be awesome, though.
that would be. All right, guys. Anything else? Any other predictions, or are we about done here?
I think we've kind of tapped it all out, right?
All right. Well, I think that about covers for everything E3. As I mentioned at the start, if you missed part 1 where we talked Nintendo, there should be a link to that in the description below, so give that a watch. Otherwise, keep it locked in Game Explain for lots of coverage from E3, mostly around Nintendo, but probably some other stuff mixed in there too. And of course, keep an eye on our Facebook and Twitter pages for everything related to that. I'm running out of things to say here, but I forgot where I left off. So let's keep an eye on Game Explain. Catch you guys later. Bye.